I was in the boardroom, finalizing the pitch deck for our next product launch, when Claire Montgomery and her ex-boyfriend stormed into the office. She didn't even bother to knock, just kicked the door open and strode in. She never once looked at me, her chin held high with that familiar, infuriating arrogance. "Everyone, this is Blake Sterling," she announced to the stunned marketing team. "He'll be joining us as the new vice president of operations. All matters, big or small, will go through him from now on." A dozen pairs of eyes shot toward me. I was, or until 30 seconds ago, had been, the vice president of Montgomery Enterprises. It was like they'd all forgotten that if I hadn't single-handedly dragged this company back from the brink of bankruptcy, Claire Montgomery's precious legacy would be nothing more than a footnote on a Chapter 11 filing. "Claire, without me, you wouldn't even be standing in this room." The words tore out of me before I could stop them. "Without me, you're nothing." #1. The humiliation was a white-hot flash. I lost it. I shot up from my seat and grabbed her arm, pulling her away from the head of the table. "Claire, what the hell is this? You told me you were done with him." Claire's face was a mask of cold indifference. She shook off my hand as if I were something while she'd stepped in. "I believe Blake is a better fit for the position," she said, her voice dripping with ice. "As for you," she paused, letting the words hang in the air. "Alex, you're fired." Just like that. No emotion, no hesitation. I laughed. A hollow, broken sound that was more anger than humor. I wanted to slap that condescending look right off her face. I remembered when Montgomery Enterprises was circling the drain. Blake Sterling had run faster than a scalded dog. He'd pawned the Rolex she bought him, cashed out every gift, and then had the audacity to text her a final goodbye. "Thank God we're not married," he'd written. "The last thing I need is to be anchored to your family's debt. That would have ruined my life. Consider the stuff I sold my severance package. Let's just call it even." Then he blocked her number and vanished. Claire had completely shattered. She'd been a princess in an ivory tower her whole life, utterly unprepared for a fall of that magnitude. When I found her, she was a drunken mess at some dive bar, moments away from being let out by a couple of guys with very bad intentions. She was the girl I'd put on a pedestal since college, the one that got away. Seeing her like that, I couldn't just walk away. It broke my heart. So I did the unthinkable. I liquidated my own promising tech startup, pouring every last cent into her failing company to give her a fighting chance. For years, I became her beast of burden. I worked myself to the bone, never complaining, never asking for anything in return. And this was my reward. Blake stepped forward, shoving me back with a theatrical display of force. He wrapped a protective arm around Claire, his face a mask of false concern. "So you're Alex Vance," he sneered, the vulture who swooped in the second I was gone. "A real class act. Claire and I had a misunderstanding, that's all. It gave you an opening and you took it. Well, I'm back now. You can get lost." The sight of his smug, punchable face sent me over the edge. I lunged, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him against the conference table. "You piece of shit." He flailed, a pathetic smirk playing on his lips even as he choked for air. He wasn't scared. He was enjoying this. The room erupted into chaos. A few of my team members finally reacted, pulling me off him. "Blake, are you okay?" Claire rushed to his side, fussing over him like a mother hen. He just draped an arm around her waist and shot me a triumphant, mocking grin that clearly said, "Look at you, clown. You never even stood a chance." "Don't hold me back." I roared, trying to lunge again. My colleagues held me firm. "Alex, have you lost your mind?" Claire's voice was sharp, cutting through the noise. "Stop making a scene. I'm doing you a favor by not having security throw you out." I froze. The woman I'd loved for years, the one I'd sacrificed everything for, suddenly felt like a complete stranger. "I'm making a scene?" I laughed again, that same broken sound. "Claire, I dare you to look me in the eye and say, I haven't given you everything. For years, have I ever let you down? Even once? This is what I get. If it wasn't for me, Montgomery Enterprises would be a crater in the ground. You think you'd be standing here, playing CEO, if I hadn't been here? He abandoned you. Who was there to pick up the pieces? Who stood by you when you had nothing and no one? As long as I had $1, I made sure you had 99 cents. Who has been by your side all these years, Claire?" Her face hardened. So what? Is that what this is about? Money? Fine, how much do you want? I'll write you a check. She wasn't done. It's not like I asked you for any of this. You did it all on your own. Did I ask for your help? I don't recall ever promising you anything in return. Her words hit me like a physical blow. The room spun. My head felt like it was full of angry bees. Years ago, when the company was on the verge of collapse, no investor would touch it. I was the only one stupid enough to dive into the fire. I came on board, wrote the business plans, chased the leads, courted the investors. I worked around the clock, ending up in the ER from exhaustion more than once. And her? She didn't know the first thing about running a business. A potential investor would walk into the office, and she'd manage to scare them off with her complete lack of knowledge. If it weren't for me smoothing things over, cleaning up her messes, this company would be dead. We had struggled together, and slowly, things turned around. Under my guidance, the company stabilized, and she, in turn, had started to open up to me. She never officially said yes, but there was a new softness in her eyes when she looked at me. She started talking about the future. Our future. One night, after closing a multi-million-dollar deal, I couldn't wait any longer. At the company-wide happy hour, I laid my heart on the line again. And her answer? Alex, I won't deny that I have feelings for you, she'd said, looking down shyly. But the company is still in a delicate position. I don't want to divide my focus with a relationship right now. Can you just give me a little more time? Once we're really stable, then we can. She trailed off, her cheeks flushed. And like a fool, I took that as a promise. Don't worry, I told her, my heart soaring. With me here, this company is going to the moon. Back then, she was my entire world. I would have done anything for her. And I did. I kept every promise I ever made. And I never even got to hold her hand. Today, I finally understood why. I was just a placeholder. I still had some use, apparently. As much as she wanted me gone, she couldn't just kick me out. She needed me to train Blake, to get him up to speed on every single project and client relationship. The irony was so thick I could choke on it. I had personally rebuilt Montgomery Enterprises from the ground up. Every employee, every major client, I was their point of contact. They saw me as the real leader of the company. Now, some new guy just parachutes into the VP office. They weren't going to listen to a word he said. So, I was the transition plan, the guy who would help Blake pacify the troops. After all, if they could kick me to the curb after everything I'd done, what chance did a regular employee have? Panic started to ripple through the departments. Everyone was on edge, whispering about Blake behind his back, openly hostile to the idea of him in charge. My assistant, a sharp young woman I'd hire myself, was practically steaming. Alex, this is such bullshit, she fumed at my desk. That Blake guy is a total empty suit. Are you really going to let him take your job? Of course I'm not happy about it, I said with a bitter smile. I knew the employees were on my side, but what could I do? Claire was the CEO, and she was protecting Blake with everything she had. She even called an all-hands meeting, which I was conspicuously not invited to formally announce the transition. I can only imagine what kind of corporate spin she put on it. I wanted to storm into her office and demand to know what was so damn special about Blake Sterling. Was he really worth betraying me, alienating her entire staff, and throwing the company into chaos? Had she completely lost her mind? But kicking me out wasn't going to be that easy, because I held 10% of the company's shares. Of course, she hadn't forgotten about that. A few days later, she asked to meet me for coffee. She looked at me with those eyes that used to make my heart race and got straight to the point. Alex, if you can't work with Blake, then it's best you leave. I'll let you resign to save face. But before you go, you need to sign your shares back over to me. They belong to the Montgomery family. I'll only let you hold them for safekeeping. I never said they were a gift. Her voice trailed off as I slammed my hand on the table, making the coffee cups jump. On what grounds? See to getting ahead. She wants my job and my equity? In that moment, she was utterly unrecognizable to me. Claire, don't be so greedy. If it wasn't for me. Are you done? She cut me off, her voice flat and cold. God, Alex, all you ever talk about is the past. So you helped stabilize the company. Do you really think you're that indispensable? The company would have recovered without you. Who do you think you are? Compared to Blake, you're nothing. He's the only one who cares about me, who asks me if I'm tired, who worries about my feelings. And you, All you ever did was make me work, dragging me to client meetings, trying to teach me this and that. You're so condescending. Do you think I'm an idiot? That I can't read a damn business proposal? I'm so sick of you, Alex. I've had enough. I was stunned into silence again. I slumped back in my chair, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. My body felt heavy, drained. I don't care about any of that, I said quietly. Just answer me one question. Did you ever love me? Even for a second. Claire took a breath, refusing to meet my eyes. We were just friends, Alex. I was never in love with you. I'm grateful for your help, but I don't need you anymore. You're a good guy. Thank you. Ha! I felt my sanity fraying at the edges. Was she serious? Is this what people actually said? I got it. I finally got it. All this time, I was just a tool. A means to an end. She played me, using my feelings for her to get free labor, to have someone work tirelessly to save her ass. That's why she was always so non-committal. She was dangling the bait, and I was the fish, the perfect clown. Now that everything was fine, it was time to get rid of the donkey that turned the mill. She wouldn't even offer me a decent severance. God, being a simp was a thankless job. One word from a girl on the pedestal, and I would have run through fire. Pathetic. Well, if she wanted me gone, fine. I was done. This was the dignity she was offering me. Maybe I'd been wrong all along. Maybe she really just saw me as a friend, and I was the creep who wanted more. Disgusting. Truly disgusting. I could walk away from everything else. But my shares? No chance in hell. I bled for that equity. I wasn't about to hand it over to those two snakes. Our first negotiation ended in a bitter stalemate. I went back to work, managing the projects I still had on my plate. This company was as much my creation as it was hers. To give up on my own hard work, because of them, that wouldn't just make me a clown. It would make me a complete and utter moron. Don't worry, I'll leave, but I'm taking my money with me. Every dollar I invested, I'm getting back with interest. But I was naive. I underestimated just how low Claire would stoop. A few days later, one of my biggest projects went sideways. An angry client called me, yelling, "Why doesn't the product we received match the quality specs in the proposal?" I could guarantee it. Any project I managed would never have quality control issues. I was completely baffled. I apologized profusely to the client, promised to get to the bottom of it, and immediately pulled up the files. Everything looked correct. Nothing was out of place. I couldn't figure it out. Where did things go wrong? My assistant hovered by my desk, hesitating. Finally, she spilled the truth. Claire had given the project to Blake. She wanted to pad his resume to help him build some credibility with the team. She gave him everything. All the project files, my backups, the exact product specifications. "I'm so sorry, Alex," she said, looking miserable. "I wanted to tell you, but Ms. Montgomery said." She said that if anyone got in his way or told you about it, they'd be fired on the spot. Damn it, I exploded. I grabbed my mug and hurled it against the wall, where it shattered into 1,000 pieces, a perfect metaphor for my years of effort. After a few deep breaths, I stormed into Claire's office. Before I could even get a word out, she cut me off. "Alex, you're just in time," she said, pushing a stack of messy project files across her desk toward me. "Blake ran into a few snags with these accounts. I need you to call the clients, apologize, and reassure them. Then you could take over from here." I picked up one of the proposals. My meticulously calculated data was a complete mess. Blake had improved it with his own moronic, self-important changes. Of course it blew up. Of course it did. I slammed the file back down on her desk. "Sorry, not my job. Find someone else." "Alex, how dare you speak to me like that? I'm the boss here, not you. I told you to do something, so you do it. These are your projects to begin with. Now that there's a problem, it's your responsibility to fix it." Her authority challenged. She was all ice and fury. "You're damn right they were my projects." I shot back, all pretense of civility gone. "So who gave you the right to mess with them? There's a problem now? Fine. Let the genius who created it solve it." My voice rose with every word, a tidal wave of frustration and betrayal crashing over me. "You said Blake was the right choice. Great. I'm out. So why the hell are you crawling back to me to clean up his mess? The client is demanding a refund. They're threatening to pull the contract. Go talk to him. Do I owe you something, Claire? Why are you doing this to me? Why?" I was losing control, slamming my hand on her desk repeatedly. The commotion drew stares from the open-plan office outside. For the first time, Claire looked flustered. Realizing she'd pushed too far, her tone softened. Alex, calm down. Take a breath. Okay, you're right. I misjudged the situation. I'll have him apologize to you later, all right? I gave him those projects because they were related to his major in college. I thought it would be a good way for him to get his feet wet. So he could eventually help share your workload. I didn't realize he lacked the practical experience. Huh. A dry, humorless laugh escaped my lips. Young? He was young. Did she forget that idiot was 6 years older than me? If he was young, what did that make me? A fetus? Claire watched my expression carefully, then shifted into her damsel in distress mode. She clasped her hands together, her eyes wide and pleading. Alex, you and I built this company together. This is our baby. We've cleared the debt, but these contracts are critical. If we have to pay the penalty clauses, it could sink us. You don't want to see all your hard work go down the drain, do you? She came around the desk and took my hand, gently swaying it back and forth. You know these projects inside and out. No one else can fix this. Only you can save us. Please. She was certain I'd fall for it. The little girl act. The damsel in distress. She knew I'd always been a sucker for it. And she was right. In the past, I would have melted. Now, all I felt was disgust. What a pathetic act. But I did soften. Not for her. For the company. For the money I had tied up in it. Until I cashed out, I had to keep the ship from sinking. Otherwise, I'd be left with nothing. Swallowing my pride and my nausea, I picked up the project files from her desk, refusing to even look at her performance. But I had still underestimated just how low those two could go. While I was out meeting with the client, negotiating a solution, she gave my office to Blake. He immediately started complaining about the decor, convincing Claire to fund a complete renovation. All of my personal belongings, my awards, my photos, my books, were unceremoniously dumped in a storage closet. That's right. My new workspace was a glorified janitor's closet, barely big enough to turn around in. The official reason? A change of scenery, just in case I forgot I wasn't the VP anymore. When I returned with a signed agreement from the client, a rescue plan in hand, I nearly exploded. Well, look who it is. Our hero returns. Blake was leaning against his new desk, a smug grin plastered on his face. He snatched the contract from my hand, his voice dripping with sarcasm. I have to hand it to you. For former VP, you're still pretty efficient. Got the client back on board just like that. I knew sending you was the right call, he said, walking over to Claire and wrapping an arm around her. He was still talking to me, but his hands were all over her. Babe, what am I going to do? I'm clearly not as good at this as Alex is. Maybe you made a mistake giving me this job? You're not going to dump me, are you? He finished with a pathetic, whining pout. A 30-something man, acting like a spoiled child. If one of my colleagues hadn't grabbed my arm, I swear I would have knocked his teeth out. Claire just giggled a sickeningly sweet sound. She reached up and playfully pinched his nose. Don't be silly. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Alex is different. He's been in the business world for years. He's an old shark. You're still a pure, innocent soul. I had a feeling Claire had no idea that was an insult. My face was a mask of pure rage. Then she made it worse. She actually said that from now on, with me handling the grunt work for him, she wouldn't have to worry so much. Unfucking believable. She glanced at the contract in Blake's hand and nodded, satisfied. Good work, Alex. You really pulled it off. Then she handed it back to Blake. Now that we have a solution, Blake, you'll be in charge of implementation. Don't mess it up this time, okay? Wow, thanks, babe. Blake cheered like a moron who'd just won a stuffed animal at a carnival. He lifted Claire off her feet and spun her around. I promise, babe, it won't happen again. And besides, it wasn't all my fault. He set her down and turned his slimy gaze on me. That client, the director, or whatever she is, total cougar. She was giving me the eyes the whole time. The deal probably went south because I didn't take her hints, if you know what I mean. He paused, a nasty smirk spreading across his face. Wait a minute. Alex, you didn't. You know, sleep with her to close the deal, did you? No wonder the old hag insisted on working with you. So that's how you got it done. What did you just say? I saw red. That bastard. That slimy piece of filth. Today I was going to beat the living shit out of him. Alex, calm down. My team pulled me back, though I could see the anger simmering in their eyes, too. Hey man, relax. It was just a joke. Why are you so sensitive? Blake yelped, a flicker of fear in his eyes as he remembered our last encounter. He quickly hid behind Claire. Alex, are you trying to start a fight again? Claire snapped, stepping in front of Blake like a shield. He was just kidding. You don't have to be so petty. She wasn't done twisting the knife. And besides, he has a point. That woman specifically requested to work with you. Why not anyone else? Why were you the only one in the entire company who could do it? That has raised some questions, doesn't it? Enough. I cut her off, my voice dangerously low. I fought to control the inferno raging inside me. This is my office. Both of you get out. Alex. Claire flinched. Then her face flushed with anger. She slammed her hand on the desk. I'm the CEO of this company. Who do you think you're telling to get out? This is Blake's office now. You're the one who needs to leave. Don't think that just because you saved a few deals, you're indispensable. Don't push your luck. I just stared at her, dumbfounded. The world went quiet, my mind buzzing. Did I really just hear that? I held her gaze, the last embers of my affection turning to cold, hard ash. She looked like a stranger to me. I saved a few important deals, and now I should get lost? If it wasn't for me, this company wouldn't even exist today. I've seen companies get rid of underperformers, but I've never seen one actively try to fire their top earner. This was a new level of incompetence. Even Claire seemed to realize she'd gone too far, but she was too proud to back down. She just glared at me, defiant. We stood there in silence for what felt like an eternity, the rest of the office holding its breath. Finally, her gaze faltered. She knew she was in the wrong. Look, Alex, I'm sorry, she sighed. It's just an office. Blake likes it, so let him have it. The company is huge. You can pick another one. What's the big deal? Come on, be a team player. Don't cause trouble. She said this last part because she could see the angry looks from the other employees. They respected me. I had hired most of them. They knew what I was capable of. And Blake? He hadn't accomplished a single thing except screw up major projects they had all worked hard on. And now, after I'd gone out and fixed his mess, not only did I not get a thank you, I got my office taken away. It was a clear power play, a public humiliation. If they could treat me like this, what hope did they have? And Blake? He was nothing but a spineless parasite hiding behind a woman. Pathetic. I took a deep breath. Without another word, I reached up and unclipped the ID badge from my shirt. Blake let out a short, cold laugh. The look on his face was one of pure, triumphant scorn. Alex. Claire saw me hand my badge to my assistant. She wasn't stupid. She knew what was happening. You better think about what you're doing. You're walking out on your own. I'm not forcing you. If you walk out that door today, don't you ever think about coming back. Over an office? Is it really that serious? Apologize to Blake right now, and maybe, for the sake of the years you've put in, I'll find some other way to make it up to you. I don't want people saying this company has no loyalty. I turned and looked at her one last time, my heart a frozen stone. The disgust in my eyes must have been plain because she flinched, surrounded by the complicated stares of my colleagues. I walked toward the exit without a moment's hesitation. It felt like a massive weight had been lifted from my shoulders. My steps felt lighter. All these years, I'd poured my blood, sweat, and tears into her company for her. And what did I get? Kicked to the curb. Well, good riddance, Claire Montgomery. I'm done serving you. Let's see how long Montgomery Enterprises lasts without me. Let's see if your little empire can fly on its own. I built it up once. I'm sure as hell not going to stick around to watch you two drag it back into the mud. Which, I had no doubt, was only a matter of time. As I was wondering what to do next, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the caller ID and froze. Well, hello, Alex. Got a minute? I'd like to buy you dinner. The voice on the other end was smooth and melodic, instantly washing away some of the bitterness and anger churning inside me. I let out a wry laugh. Ava, you work fast. I literally just walked out of the building, and you're already on a line. Hee, she chuckled, not bothering to deny it. So how about it? We're looking for a new VP of strategy. Interested? Ava Chun. Her company, Chun Dynamics, was Montgomery Enterprises' biggest rival. The two firms had been at each other's throats for years. In fact, it was Chun Dynamics that had nearly pushed Montgomery into bankruptcy in the first place. If I hadn't charmed a few key clients and secured those critical contracts, Montgomery Enterprises would have been history. That's when Ava Chun had noticed me. And now that I'd been cast out, she was making her move. She tried to poach me before, with offers of huge salary. But back then, I was blinded by my loyalty to Claire, and I turned her down every time. Now, I had nowhere to go. Shin Dynamics was a damn good option. But would she really trust me? You're not worried this is some kind of setup? That Claire and I are playing you? Sending me in as a Trojan horse. Ha ha. My bluntness seemed to amuse her. If anything, she sounded more impressed. Even if we can't come to an agreement, surely Mr. Vance can spare some time for a free meal. I knew it was an invitation for a formal interview. I wasn't about to turn it down. Even if she hadn't called, I would have reached out to her eventually. Shin Dynamics was a major player. Whether I started my own thing again or joined another company, our paths would cross. An invitation from the CEO herself? Of course I was going. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? After years of fighting Shin Dynamics, joining them seemed like the most logical move. I arrived at the restaurant she'd chosen and spotted her immediately. Ava Chun was impossible to miss. She wore a tailored white pantsuit, her long dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail. She radiated the kind of powerful, magnetic energy that commanded a room. She was stunning. With the Claire-colored glasses finally off, I realized Ava was on a whole other level. I didn't know if it was intentional, but my eyes were glued to her. When she saw me approaching, she gave me a subtle wink and a small, knowing smile that was both alluring and utterly captivating. For the first time in years, I felt a blush creep up my neck and had to look away. And that's when I saw it. Across the street, bathed in the evening light, was the Montgomery Enterprises building. I couldn't help but laugh to myself. The woman had a flair for the dramatic. Meeting Montgomery's recently fired VP in a restaurant with a front-row view of their headquarters. It was a brazen, calculated move designed to get under Claire's skin. It also showed just how little she thought of her rival. "You're a little impulsive, aren't you?" she said as her first words to me, a hint of amusement in her voice. "Giving up on a company you built from scratch, all over a woman? Now it's just going to fall into someone else's hands." She already knew the whole story. She seemed to admire my decisiveness, my willingness to cut my losses and walk away. "Claire Montgomery must be blind," she continued, gazing across the street. "Does she not remember how her company was saved from the grave? To throw away an asset like you. I guess now that the company is stable, she thinks she can afford to be reckless. It's a chilling way to do business." She clicked her tongue, her eyes still on the Montgomery building. I could see employees moving about inside, unaware of the storm that was coming. I knew what she was doing. She was trying to stoke the fires of my resentment. And she was right. Everything she said was true. It was the cold, hard reality that had finally broken me. I sighed, a bitter taste in my mouth. Out with the old, in with the new, I guess. It's not the end of the world. If I can build up one company, I can build up another. "Oh, that confident are you?" She leaned forward, her eyes sparkling. "Then maybe it can be my company?" "Haha, you're joking, Miss Chun. A giant like Shin Dynamics hardly needs me." I could feel my face getting warm again. Damn it, was I blushing? It had been so long since I'd even looked at another woman, let alone sat across a table from one as captivating as Ava. "Name your price," she said, her tone suddenly all business. She stirred her coffee, added 2 sugar packets, and then slid the cup across the table to me. "I want your shares in Montgomery Enterprises." It was exactly how I took my coffee. She'd done her homework. The gesture was a clear sign of her sincerity. But it wasn't going to work. "The shares aren't for sale. Not to you. I want Claire Montgomery to buy them back from me personally. I don't care about her company anymore. But the money I invested, she's going to pay it back." Ava didn't seem surprised by my refusal. It was as if she'd expected it. She just smiled, a slight, knowing curve of her lips that was distractingly beautiful. Without Claire clouding my vision, I was starting to realize the world was full of amazing women. I had been such an idiot. "The check's already been deposited," Ava said, standing up. She walked around the table and leaned in close to me. A subtle, pleasant perfume enveloped me. She whispered in my ear, her voice a low, seductive hum. "Do you know why I picked this specific table?" With another smile, she patted my shoulder and walked out. I stayed put, my gaze fixed on the building across the street. From this angle, I had a perfect view of Claire's office. Even from this distance, I could see her pacing back and forth, frantic. My phone started buzzing incessantly. Calls from her, texts from former colleagues. I picked up the coffee Ava had left me and took a sip. It was perfect, a full court press of sincerity. I glanced at my phone, then switched it to silent. I knew something had gone wrong over there. I knew Claire was panicking. Good. This time, there would be no mercy. I was going to make Claire Montgomery spit out every last thing she had taken from me. That night, unable to reach me, Claire used her old key to barge into my apartment. I'd forgotten to revoke her access. A stupid oversight. Alex, what did you do today? Who did you meet? Tell me. She burst in, yelling, as if she still owned the place. And me. Who the hell did she think she was? I ignored her, keeping my eyes on the tablet in my lap. My blatant disregard sent her into a rage. She lunged, swiping the tablet and my glass of water off the end table, sending them crashing to the floor. Why are you doing this to me? Why? She shrieked like a wild animal. I remained still, my expression placid. My calmness only seemed to fuel her fire. Don't think I don't know. You met with that bitch Ava Chan, didn't you? I knew it. I knew you had something going on with her. You cheating bastard. She's a snake, and you're perfect for each other. A pair of backstabbers. No wonder you've been so cold to me lately. So this is why. I always saw the way she looked at you, like she wanted to devour you whole. I knew you were fooling around behind my back, and after all your promises that you only loved me. It was all a lie. Did you think I was stupid? Alex, you are a real piece of work. Do you really think that bitch Ava is interested in you? Don't be a fool. I'm the only one who truly cares about you. She's only getting close to you to get her hands on your Montgomery shares. They're mine. Give them back to me before she tricks you out of them. Give them back. Why aren't you saying anything? Why are you holding on to something that isn't yours? Her tirade finally circled back to the real issue. The shares. Her desperation was palpable. She started rampaging through my living room, grabbing whatever she could and smashing it. Watching her, a woman possessed, I had the sudden urge to slap her, just to see if it would snap her out of her psychotic episode. But I held back. We were in the same room, but in different worlds. Her madness against my stillness. In that moment, a memory surfaced. A time back when things were tough, when I had a meeting with a potential client, a female executive. Claire had insisted on coming along. During the meeting, when the executive leaned in slightly to look at the proposal, Claire had exploded. She accused me of flirting, of disrespecting her, and proceeded to trash the woman's office right in front of her. I spent hours apologizing and paid for the damages out of my own pocket to keep her from calling the police. The deal, of course, was dead. Afterward, Claire had cried and said she was just jealous. She couldn't stand to see me close to another woman. She said the only woman in my life should be her. At the time, I was ecstatic. Was this it? Was the goddess finally choosing me? From then on, I followed her rules. I only met with male clients or much older women. When I hired new staff, I prioritized men over women. I didn't see her behavior as controlling or unreasonable. I saw it as proof that she cared. Now, I knew the truth. She didn't care about me. She was just playing mind games, manipulating me. I had debased myself, become a simp, orbiting her, desperate for a scrap of her affection. And what did she do? When she was happy, she'd pat me on the head like a dog. When she was displeased, she'd throw a tantrum or berate me. Now, she'd just kick me to the curb. There were worse things I didn't even want to remember. But it didn't matter anymore. She was Claire Montgomery, and I was Alex Vance, and I was done. After she had thoroughly wrecked my apartment, her tantrum subsided. She was calmer, but still aggressive. Alex, why are you doing this to me? All I did was bring Blake into the company. Is that such a big deal? Can't you just be reasonable? You're making this so difficult for me. I don't understand why you're acting like this. I'm trying to keep this company afloat. I can't spend all my time catering to your feelings. Why can't you be more understanding? I'm a woman too. I have moments of weakness. All you do is work, work, work. What's so important? If Blake hadn't been there for me, comforting me, I would have had a complete breakdown because of you. Why can't you be more like him? If you were just half the man he is. She kept talking, and I remained silent. I was beyond disappointed. I was exhausted. It was all so laughable. She just destroyed my apartment in a fit of rage. That didn't seem very weak or fragile to me. How could she say these things with a straight face? If I hadn't worked my ass off, Montgomery Enterprises would have folded years ago. Who did she think was keeping the lights on? I couldn't even. It wasn't worth arguing about. Seeing my silence, Claire's tone softened again. I'm sorry, Alex. I've been on edge. I'm just so afraid of losing you. Promise me you won't see Avachin again. Please come back to work. Those projects are in trouble again. The clients are demanding to speak with you, or they'll cancel. Blake went to see them, and they humiliated him. He came back and just cried in my arms. It was heartbreaking. Can you please go and fix it? And I know you're mad about the office. I have an idea. You can have my office. I'll move out. She delivered these lines with the air of a martyr, as if she were the one making a great sacrifice, forgiving me for my transgressions. I almost laughed out loud. So that was it. Blake had screwed up again, and now she was back with sweet talk and hollow promises. Did she really have zero self-awareness? Did she not realize how disgusting, how repulsive her behavior was? Cuddling with another man, then turning around and telling me she was afraid of losing me? Okay, I get it now. I'm the handyman, the emotional support animal, the sideshow in their twisted romance. The fucking clown. Sorry, this simp has officially retired. In my eyes, she was no better than garbage. Everything she said, everything she did, was a new assault on basic human decency. I was done being polite. Are you finished? If you're finished, you can leave. This is my home. You've trespassed and destroyed my property. I'm giving you a chance to leave with some dignity. Otherwise, I'm calling the police. I pulled out my phone. She just laughed. What are you talking about? I just said I forgive you. I opened the door and gestured for her to get out. If she didn't leave soon, I was going to do something I'd regret. This woman was testing the very limits of my self-control. By the way, I added, you broke my things. I'm sorry, and I was emotional doesn't cut it. I'll be sending you an itemized bill. I suggest you pay it. I have no problem taking this to small claims court. Alex, how could you? My words sent her into another frenzy. 911. I said calmly as I started dialing. Seeing the numbers on my screen, she panicked. Alex, you wouldn't dare, she shrieked, her face pale, lunging for my phone. Seeing I was serious, she finally backed down. As she left, she shot me a venomous look. Fine, Alex. You're kicking me out. You'll regret this. And don't even think about coming back to the company. You want money? You won't get a cent. Let me tell you, don't think Montgomery Enterprises can't survive without you. You've gone too far. I'll never forgive. I slammed the door in her face, cutting her off. She started pounding on the door, screaming obscenities. Listening to her unhinged ranting, I could only shake my head and laugh at my own stupidity. How had I ever been so blind? How had I fallen for someone like this? I remembered all the sweet nothings she'd whispered to keep me on the hook, and a wave of nausea washed over me. Alex, thank God for you. When I was at my lowest, you were the only one who didn't abandon me. Alex, you saved my company. I don't know how I can ever repay you. Maybe I'll just have to marry you. It's okay. Even if the company fails again, it doesn't matter, because I have you. As long as I have you, I have everything. This company is mine, but it's also yours. And from now on, you're not allowed to get married without my permission. We have to be together forever. Back then, I'd swallowed it all, hook, line, and sinker. Now I just felt like a fool. She was so good at playing the victim and making me feel like I was the center of her universe, while she was getting cozy with another man. I spent the next few days waiting. I knew Claire would be back about the shares. Did she really think I'd just hand them over? I put in real money. The fact that I wasn't billing her for years of emotional distress was me being generous. But it wasn't Claire who called. It was Blake. Alex, don't think I don't know Claire went to your place. I don't care what you two did or said, but I'm the winner now. You lost. Let me tell you. His voice droned on, a smug, irritating buzz. I rolled my eyes. I really wanted to punch him through the phone. This morning, Claire and I went to City Hall and got married. Ha ha. We're legally husband and wife now. And you're nothing. But hey, thanks for all your hard work building up the company. It's all mine now. You won't get a single penny. Tell me, Alex, are you sad? Honestly, I felt nothing. Not a single thing. What was this moron even trying to accomplish? My silence seemed to fuel him. He thought I was devastated. Don't think those shares of yours mean anything. You want to win Claire back. Keep dreaming. She's my wife now, and I'm going to take very, very good care of her. You're precious girl. I bet she's amazing in bed. Hello. I hung up. I couldn't listen to another second of his garbage. But then I thought about it. Blake was right about one thing. My minority stake didn't give me much power, so I had to change tactics. I made a phone call to his mother. I'd done a background check on him. He was a classic case, a guy from a dirt-poor background who marries up. His hometown was in a forgotten corner of West Virginia. His father died young, and his mother raised him with the help of a massive, tight-knit extended family. They were all still living there, all deeply enmeshed in each other's lives. I wondered what would happen if news of his good fortune reached them. I paid a local in his town a little money to spread a few rumors. Something along the lines of, "Did you hear about Blake Sterling? He hit the jackpot. Married the CEO of a big company in San Francisco. He's running the place now, but he's looking for trustworthy people to help him out." That one little seed was all it took. In that small, isolated town, it was like dropping a bomb. As soon as Blake's mother heard her son needed help, she rounded up the entire clan, aunts, uncles, cousins, and they all piled into a van and drove straight to the city, descending on the Montgomery Enterprises office like a swarm of locusts. My former assistant, who still had friends inside, sent me a video call so I could watch the chaos unfold. On the screen, Blake's mother stood in the middle of the office, hands on her hips, nose in the air, looking like she owned the place. She was screaming at the top of her lungs at the terrified employees, her voice a shrill weapon. "Who do you people think you are? You're just dogs my son feeds. You think you'd have a job if it wasn't for him. Why are you stopping me from seeing my son?" Her tirade was vile, a torrent of abuse. Apparently, no one believed she was actually Blake's mother, so she was putting on a show. Just then, Blake appeared, his face a thundercloud. Claire trailed behind him, looking utterly mortified. She clearly had no idea this was Blake's family. "Blake Sterling, you got too big for your britches, huh? You hit the big time and forgot all about your own mother. Don't you forget, if it weren't for me, you'd be dead in a ditch like your father. You get married, and you don't even tell your family? If we hadn't heard, we'd still be in the dark. Got money now, so you're ashamed of us, is that it? I can't even meet my own daughter-in-law." I know it's a stereotype, but his mother was playing the part perfectly. Loud, ignorant, and completely shameless. The employees were stunned into silence. Blake's face was shifting between shades of red and white. "I know her family's rich, but that's no reason to humiliate us. Any other daughter-in-law would be serving her new mother-in-law tea. But this one, she doesn't serve me tea. She calls security to have me arrested. Oh, woe is me. I raised my son, and this is the thanks I get. My life is so hard. Why was I even born? My dear son, why are you just standing there? Say something. Your own mother is being bullied. Why are you just watching?" Her performance was worthy of an Oscar. I couldn't help but grin, especially seeing the look of horror on Claire's face. "You brought this on yourself." Blake, utterly humiliated, finally stepped forward. "Ma, it's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Claire didn't know who you were. She thought you were homeless people, here to beg for money. That's why she called security." Homeless? Beggars? Money. The words were like slaps to the face. His mother's face turned purple with rage. She hauled off and smacked him across the face, a loud, sharp crack that echoed through the silent office. He just stood there, stunned. I almost cheered. A slap really does seem to work. His mother, her face etched with years of hardship, pointed a trembling, work-worn finger at him. "So that's it. You've made it big, so you're ashamed of your old mother. No wonder you didn't tell us you were getting married. You were afraid your beggar mother would come asking for handouts. Are we beggars? Tell me, do we look dirty? Do we smell bad? You've been in the big city so long you've forgotten where you came from, you ungrateful snake. Ma-e." Blake opened his mouth, but no words came out. Looking at his mother's furious, tear-streaked face, he seemed to remember the hard times. After he finally calmed his mother down, he turned to Claire, his eyes filled with a new kind of venom. "Claire, how about you try to kick my mother out? I swear to God, I will divorce you." "Blake, no, it's not like that." Claire panicked. She looked so wronged, so misunderstood. How was she supposed to know these people, who looked like they just crawled out of a ditch, were her new in-laws? She was lucky she hadn't fainted. I also remembered that the family history Blake had told her was a far cry from the reality now screaming in her office. The penny was finally dropping for Claire. Before she could say more, Blake's aunt jumped in, a motor-mouthed master of the guilt trip. Oh, look at him. A wife forgets his mother. Blake, you can't be like this. Your mother raised you all by herself. It wasn't easy. When you were starving, she went door to door, begging, just to get you a hot meal. She did it so you could grow up and make her proud. And now look at you. You're rich, and your wife. TSK, dressed up like a harlot. Who is she trying to seduce? You better watch out, or she'll run your business into the ground. That's right, Blake. Remember when you were sick as a boy, and we had no money? It was your mother who borrowed from everyone in town to pay the doctor. She still hasn't paid it all back. Not that we're asking for it, of course. We just want you to remember your roots, to remember how much your mother sacrificed for you. The aunts and uncles laid it on thick, a masterclass in emotional blackmail. They talked about how happy they were for his success, never explicitly mentioning money, but every sentence dripped with it. After your father died, your mother was still a young woman. She could have remarried, but she didn't because she was afraid a new man wouldn't treat you right. And now, you're a grown man, and not only are you not taking care of her, she has to find out from a stranger that you got married. You're not just ungrateful, you're letting your own mother be humiliated. TSK. That's right. You should bring your mother to live with you, and your wife should take good care of her. So she didn't serve the tea. Your mother isn't a petty woman, is she? After a while, you'll all be one big, happy family. Hearing her cue, Blake's mother started her waterworks again, burying her face in her hands. No. I just wanted to see if my son was doing okay. I didn't know his wife would hate me so much. I can't ask them to take care of me. I'll just go back home and be lonely. Just like his father, I'll probably die alone, and no one will find me for weeks. Ooh-hoo-hoo. Blake, say something. Are you mute? See, Annie, I told you. I said Blake was doing well now. He just wants to cut ties with us poor relatives. Blake's cousin, his face red with performative anger, yelled, Auntie, stop crying. If Blake won't take care of you, I will. Come live with us. We don't need this ungrateful traitor. We'll just pretend he's dead. With that, they made a show of leaving. It worked. Blake, crushed under the weight of their accusations, finally broke. His eyes welled up with tears. Ma, I'll take care of you. Everything I've done, I did it for you. Today. No, right now. I'm taking you home with me. Claire's face went white. She grabbed his arm, shaking her head frantically. Shut up. This isn't your decision to make. Having the marriage certificate in his pocket had given Blake a spine. He shoved her hand away, stunning her into silence. Realizing he'd gone too far, he quickly softened his tone, taking her hand. I'm sorry. I was just emotional. Look, you heard them. My mother had a hard life raising me. Claire, you're a kind person. That's why I married you. If you're not willing to take care of my mother, then even though I love you very, very much, I'll have to consider a divorce. I could practically see Claire grinding her teeth to dust. But she had no choice. She nodded, defeated. She was tied to him now, and after watching this whole circus, all I could say was, serve her right. Oh, and it gets better. Not only were they moving into her house, they were also going to help run the company. Their excuse? They had to protect the empire that Blake had built. A group of barely literate country bumpkins in senior management positions. I could already picture the dumpster fire. Over the next few weeks, my former assistant would text me constantly, complaining and sending me videos. I opened one and almost choked on my coffee. They had turned the sleek, professional office into their own personal village square. A group of them were sitting in a circle in the middle of the open-plan workspace, cracking sunflower seeds and gossiping, while other employees try to work around them. Their faces a mixture of resentment and disbelief. Brenda, you're so lucky. You raised such a good, filial son. Now that they were all dependent on Blake's mother for their cushy new lives, they knew exactly what to say to flatter her. Blake's a good boy. He knows how to be grateful, an older man said with a wise nod. That's right. I told everyone back home. They all said my cousin is the best. He brought us all to the big city. Blake's cousin, who had probably never owned anything nicer than a flip phone, was now flaunting the latest iPhone. He was a local hero among his friends back home, and he looked at Blake with pure adoration, which only inflated Blake's ego even more. They were even drinking beer in the office. In the middle of the day, fueled by alcohol, Blake was holding court, completely forgetting he was just the husband of the owner. He was pointing around the office, telling his relatives tall tales of how he had single-handedly built this company from nothing, how many people he employed, how much money he was making. For the actual employees who had been there through the tough times, it was a slap in the face. Anyone with eyes could see that this crew was just here to leech off the company. They had no skills, no experience, yet they were all given senior titles: purchasing manager, client relations manager, head of customer service. Any title with manager, and it was handed over to one of them. And the worst part? Blake had absolutely nothing to do with the company's success. But now he was taking all the credit. This was why my old assistant was constantly venting to me. One day, she was caught texting me and was immediately fired by the furious relatives. Joke's on them. She'd been dying to quit. She marched straight to HR to get her final paycheck. And guess who was in charge of payroll? Blake's aunt. She didn't know the first thing about severance packages or final pay. She just knew she had to give her money to make her go away. My assistant, who had been expecting a fight, walked out with a check for way more than she was owed. When she came to see me, she was grinning from ear to ear. I immediately offered her a job. Oh, right, I forgot to mention. I had accepted Ava's offer. I was now the head of the strategy department at Dynamics. When my old assistant heard she could work for me again, she practically jumped for joy. A double win. With this new, chaotic management style, more and more talented employees at Montgomery got fed up and left. The situation was spiraling out of control. Finally, Claire's parents stepped in. They weren't about to let a bunch of outsiders steal their daughter's company. They started placing their own trusted people in management positions to counteract Blake's relatives. The once professional corporate environment devolved into a toxic battlefield of warring factions. The remaining employees, caught in the crossfire, saw the writing on the wall. Even the baristas at the coffee shop downstairs knew that Montgomery Enterprises was a sinking ship. The exodus began. Many of those leaving were talented people I had personally trained. I didn't hesitate to reach out. If you want to keep working with me, there's a place for you at Dynamics. I'll give you a platform to grow, with better pay and benefits than you ever had at Montgomery. They knew what I could do. They remembered that the years they worked under me were the company's most profitable. They knew that with me, they wouldn't just survive, they would thrive. Ava was ecstatic. Gaining so many skilled employees and their institutional knowledge in one fell swoop was a massive coup. She started telling everyone I was her lucky charm. The existing management at Dynamics had been wary of me at first, but Ava's unwavering support had kept them in line. After I landed several huge new accounts, bringing in a massive windfall for the company, their skepticism vanished. They were all smiles now. Ava seized the opportunity and promoted me to vice president. Not a single person on the board or in management objected. Just like that, I had the position Ava had promised me. Meanwhile, things at Montgomery went from bad to worse. Blake's idiotic relatives, convinced they were business prodigies, meddled in everything, offering their unsolicited and invariably terrible advice on every project. Claire's people were in constant damage control mode, but for every fire they put out, Blake's family would start a bigger one somewhere else. The two factions were actively sabotaging each other, digging pits for the other to fall into. In all my years running the company, we had never had a quarter in the red. Under their new leadership, they posted a massive loss in less than 3 months. The news was so bad it almost sent Claire to the hospital. She had a meltdown, screaming that she was going to fire every last one of those leeches. But Blake wouldn't have it. He got on his knees, clinging to her leg, crying and begging, playing the victim. To make matters worse, Claire's own parents objected to the mass firing, because many of the incompetent managers were their own people. It was only then that Claire finally realized it wasn't just Blake's family sucking her company dry. It was her own parents, too. In that moment of clarity, Claire understood. Without me, Montgomery Enterprises was doomed. In just a few short months, major clients had pulled out and revenue had plummeted. The company was in shambles. Blake had already managed to swindle a significant portion of her shares from her. Then, in a panic, she remembered, I still held my 10%. She immediately came to find me, demanding I return my shares so she could regain control of the board. She wanted to fire everyone, and then she wanted me to come back and be her VP again. I thought I was dreaming. Claire, you are unbelievable. Get the hell out of here. I don't want to see you. I had my assistant deliver this message to her multiple times, but she was relentless, crying, begging, saying she couldn't give up. After a long night, I had just fallen asleep when my phone rang, shattering the peace. It was her. She must have got my new number from someone. I groaned, ready to curse her out, but there was no need. I reached for my phone, but a slender, pale arm emerged from under the covers and beat me to it. Ava picked up the phone. "Stop, Alex. I finally found you. Can we please stop fighting? I forgive you." Ava propped herself up, leaning against my chest, her soft hair brushing against my chin. The faint, pleasant scent calmed my frayed nerves. She let out a sleepy yawn, her voice husky and annoyed, cutting through Claire's pathetic whining. "God, you're loud. What are you crying about? Did someone die? You're so annoying, Claire. You're a married woman. Stop bothering Alex. And forgive him? Who the hell do you think you are? You're unbelievable. I know you're not the brightest, but come on. At least pretend you have a brain." On the other end of the line, Claire went silent. Even her fake crying stopped. Then, a shriek of pure rage. "You. It's you. Alex. Why is Avachin with you? Why are you doing this to me? What did you two do? You bitch. Alex is my man. You can't sleep with." "So annoying," I said, wrapping my arm around a very naked Ava. I took the phone and hung up, then kissed her soft lips. "Looks like I need a new number again. She just won't quit. She's literally married." Ava wrapped her arms around my neck, giggling as she kissed me back. "You should have let me keep yelling at her. Honestly, don't worry about people like that." All thoughts of sleep were gone. I looked at Ava's flushed cheeks, smiled, and pulled the covers over our heads. That evening, Ava and I had dinner plans. I stopped at a florist near my apartment to pick up a bouquet of roses. As I was about to get in my car, someone rushed out in front of me. I jumped back, startled. It was Claire. I hadn't seen her in a while. She looked worn out, the light gone from her eyes. I used to love her eyes. I thought they were so pure, so kind. Now, I really don't know how I could have been so blind. She snatched the roses from my hand and tried to hug me. "Alex, I knew you still loved me. You don't have to buy me flowers. I already told you, I forgive you." I almost laughed in her face. How can anyone be so delusional? I pushed her away, not gently. "These aren't for you. Give them back." What? The idea that the flowers weren't for her seemed to short-circuit her brain. She started shouting right there on the sidewalk. "Alex, what is wrong with you? If they're not for me, who are they for? What bitch are you buying flowers for? You used to tell me that I was the only woman in the world beautiful enough for flowers like these. You. Forget it. Keep them." I was done with this conversation. I went back into the shop and bought another bouquet. Before I could even pay, she stormed in and snatched them too. "Are these for that bitch, Ava-chun? How could you? Why are you being such a child? I already forgave you. If I can't have them, neither can she." She tore the roses to shreds, throwing them on the ground and stomping on them, drawing stares from passers-by. "What are you talking about? Are you insane?" I had never realized just how unhinged, how completely self-absorbed Claire could be. I was speechless. I wondered if I slapped her right here in front of all these people, if it would snap her out of it. Or if they just think I was an asshole. "Alex, what do you want from me? Why are you treating me like this? What did I do wrong? So, I married Blake. Why are you so petty? Can't you just be the bigger person? You promised you would love me forever. You promised you would never leave me, no matter what. Fine, you slept with Ava-chan. We're even, but I'm not divorcing Blake." I just stared at her, my mind reeling. I had to be sure. Did I hear her correctly? Were those words that a sane, rational human being could actually say? "Who the hell are you? Can you please stop being so disgusting? Are you incapable of understanding plain English? I want nothing to do with you. What you and Blake do is none of my business. I don't give a damn if you get divorced or not." Jesus Christ. The urge to slap her was becoming overwhelming. "I'm disgusting. Alex, how could you say that to me? What's wrong with you? Did Ava say something bad about me? You've never said such cruel things to me before. You. She looked like she was about to crumble. I honestly could not comprehend the logic inside her head. Was her brain just filled with cotton candy and entitlement? "You can't be with her. You have to break up. I'm not divorcing Blake, so it's only fair. You have to break up with Ava. She's the disgusting one. She's the bad guy. I'm not. So I married Blake, but I still care about you. I couldn't take it anymore. I slapped her. Crack. The sound was sharp and clean. The onlookers on the sidewalk went silent. Then I heard someone mutter, "Good." Claire stood there, stunned, her hand on her reddening cheek. You hit me. Enough. Stop your crazy act. I went to my car, found a bottle of hand sanitizer, and doused the hand I had used to slap her. I felt contaminated. My actions seemed to break her. Her eyes filled with tears. Alex, you were never like this before. You used to do whatever I wanted. Please come back. I've forgiven you. Okay, fine, I won't say bad things about Ava. You don't know how much I've suffered, how much pain I've been in. I'm not going to divorce Blake, but his family. They're monsters. They're selfish and cruel. Listening to her, even the people on the sidewalk were rolling their eyes. They didn't know the whole story, but they'd heard her say, "I won't divorce him," about a dozen times. They probably wanted to slap her too. Did she really not understand what drives a man away? It was all just so pathetic. Blake's relatives were selfish and cruel. What a surprise. Like calls to like, and she still didn't want to divorce him to cut her losses. All I could think was, "You made your bed, Claire. Lie in it." She started sobbing, listing her grievances. Blake's mother insisted on living with us. I offered to buy her a condo, but she said that was a waste of money and that I should just give her the cash instead. She wakes me up at the crack of dawn every single day. I'm having a nervous breakdown. We had a housekeeper, but she fired her without paying her, saying her cooking was good enough. And now she makes me do all the cleaning, all the dishes, all the laundry. She says that's what a daughter-in-law is supposed to do where she comes from. She was crying hysterically. But listening to her story, I felt no sympathy, only a dark, twisted amusement. I was trying so hard not to smile. And the little porcelain doll you gave me, the one you made yourself that I kept all these years. She said it was clutter and smashed it. I'd heard enough. I held up a hand. I have to go. Don't block my way. But she wouldn't stop. Do you know what the worst part is? Blake doesn't defend me. He sides with his mother. He says she had a hard life, and I should just be more accommodating. He even gave her our bedroom. My bedroom, with all my things in it. After one night, the whole room smells weird, and Okay, that was actually kind of funny. I would have thought that getting the pampered princess Claire Montgomery to wash a single dish was a miracle. But to give up her own bedroom? This new life. It must be everything she ever dreamed of. Otherwise, why would she put up with it? And after all this, she still wasn't thinking about leaving him. She was here, telling me that Blake wasn't the problem, it was his family, and that she would never, ever divorce him. Okay, fine. You two are perfect for each other. Just stop trying to drag me into your mess. I was getting seriously annoyed. I was going to be late for my date. The beautiful Ava-chan was sitting in a restaurant by herself, probably getting hit on by a dozen guys. I had to go. Alex, I knew you still cared. Seeing my dark expression, she thought I was feeling sorry for her. She doubled down, her voice filled with manufactured regret. The company was at rock bottom. If you hadn't shown up, I wouldn't be where I am today. I see that now. You were my guardian angel. The company can't survive without you. Come back to me. If you're there, they won't dare to bully me. And the company won't be in danger anymore. If you come back, I promise I'll be good to you. I cut her off, my patience gone. Mrs. Sterling, did you forget that you just said you won't be divorcing your husband? And now you're saying this? You have no shame, do you? And for the record, you and I are nothing to each other. Why would I care if you're being bullied? It has nothing to do with me. Now please move. I'm leaving. I won't move. She was still blocking my way. That was it. I was done being nice. I physically shoved her aside. She shrieked, stumbling and falling to the ground. None of the onlookers moved to help her. And don't you forget, you're the one who threw me away, I said, my voice cold. So what are you doing now, crying to me? When I was your loyal doormat, how did you treat me? You're not divorcing Blake? Great. Has nothing to do with me. I got in my car and slammed the door. Don't come near me again. Don't bother me again. Everything you're going through right now, no one forced you. It was all your choice. No, Alex, don't leave me. Seeing me roll up the window, she completely lost it, chasing after the car, begging. You can't do this to me. All those promises you made, were they all lies? You said you'd never leave me. Are you even a man? Fine. If you don't want me anymore, then give me back my company's shares. That got my attention. I stopped the car and waited for her to catch up. I'd almost forgotten. Giving them back is not an option. I paid for them, fair and square. If you want them, you can buy them back at 10 times their current market value. Otherwise, I have no problem selling to a third party. Her face contorted with rage. She threw herself in my car, clawing at the window. Are you even human? This is highway robbery. Those shares belong to my company. You have no right. And what right do you have? You didn't actually think I would just gift them to you, did you? You. Her face was dark with hatred. If it weren't for the glass between us, I think she would have tried to bite me. Claire, tell me, I said, my voice laced with mock pity. You don't still think I'm the same guy who would do anything you ask, do you? Let me be clear. The Alex who was at your beck and call died the day you brought Blake Sterling back into the office. The only reason I'm even talking to you now is because I haven't gotten my money back yet. You disgust me. My words finally seemed to penetrate her thick skull. The color drained from her face. Fine, I'll buy them. But the company doesn't have that much cash right now. I can give you 5 times. Claire, what makes you think you're in any position to negotiate? I cut her off with a cold laugh. You don't want them? Fine by me. There are plenty of other buyers. I started to roll up the window, done wasting my time. 7 times. That's my final offer. She yelled, slapping the window, her eyes burning with hatred. She needed those shares. She knew it. It was her only path to regaining control. Otherwise, her company was finished. Seeing her desperation was deeply satisfying. 8 times, I said, offering one last concession. A final act of pity for a woman I once loved. Take it or leave it. I just want to be done with her. My life was better now in every conceivable way. I had a successful career, a beautiful, intelligent girlfriend. What was so special about Claire Montgomery? I had been so blind. Fine, Alex, you're a real bastard, she spat, but she agreed to the 8-fold price. She was in a hurry, terrified I would change my mind. The money was wired, and the shares were transferred. By the time I got to the restaurant, I was incredibly late. Ava was a little annoyed, but the huge bouquet of flowers smoothed things over. Seeing her happy smile, I felt a wave of relief. My investment of time, money, and energy had finally paid off. That night was one of the best we'd ever had. I bought her anything she wanted. Not that she needed my money, but that wasn't the point. She forgot she was a CEO and acted like an excited little girl, and I was happy to spoil her. Alex, look at the old work group chat. Someone's live streaming from the office. It's insane. The next day, one of the employees who had come over from Montgomery burst into my office. The old group chat? What now? Curious, I clicked the link. Someone still at Montgomery was streaming from their phone, pointed at Claire's office door. I tuned in just in time to see Blake, red-faced with anger, shove Claire to the ground. Claire, do you take me for an idiot? He screamed, pointing a finger at her. Don't think I don't know you went to see that scumbag Alex again. I told you to stay away from him. You're married to me. You're my wife. You shameless woman. Blake, who the hell are you to question me? Claire scrambled to her feet and launched herself at him, hitting and scratching. Why can't I go see him? If you were half the man Alex is, I wouldn't have to. Look at what you've done. You are a complete and utter failure. You lost all of our biggest contracts. We've lost millions because of you. If Alex were here, none of this would have happened. All I know is ever since you came back, this company has been going down the drain. You're a curse. Why did you do this to me? Why did you make me break up with Alex? That time we met with that client, and he kept trying to get me drunk? Did you step in? Did you defend me even once? If it had been Alex, he would have taken every drink for me, and he would have closed the deal. What can you do? Besides lose money and screw things up, what the hell are you good for? Blake, why are you doing this to me? Watching Claire's breakdown, I just shook my head. A bitter memory surfaced. I remembered that client she mentioned. He was a heavy drinker. No deal was signed until he was half in the bag. To protect Claire, I rarely brought her to those kinds of meetings. I remember one night ending up in the ER on a 4-drip from alcohol poisoning after closing a deal with him. And where was she? Out on a date with Blake. The memory still made me sick. I want to go back in time and slap my younger self. What was I thinking, loving a woman like that? Alex. That's all you ever talk about. Everything I do, it's not good enough. If you miss him so much, why don't you go back to him? Oh, that's right. You're my wife now. If he's as great as you say, why did you dump him for me in the first place, you bitch? The company is losing money because of me? Claire, have you ever considered that maybe the problem is you? You don't know how to do anything. I've been trying my best to help you. What more do you want? Do you want me to die? Is that it? Then you can finally be with your precious Alex. Is that what you want? Enough. Shut up. Claire was practically foaming at the mouth. She flew at him again. You know exactly why the company is losing money. You know why we lost those contracts. Your family of thieves. How much money have they embezzled? Tens of millions. I told you they were just a bunch of beggars here to rob me blind. And her rant was cut short as Blake slapped her hard. Have you said enough? He roared. Beggars, thieves. I finally get it. You don't just look down on me. You look down on my whole family, don't you? You and your parents always thought you were better than me because you had money. You humiliated me. You trampled on my dignity. You think I love you? No, I hate you. I hate you so much. Why didn't your company just die back then? Why did that idiot Alex have to stick his nose in it? If it wasn't for him, you'd be begging on the streets right now. You hit me. Blake, you bastard. The slap seemed to break something in her. She went completely feral, and the two of them descended into a mess of flailing limbs and screaming. That was the signal. His relatives and her family's loyalists came pouring out of their offices, and a full-scale brawl erupted. All the pent-up resentment and hatred finally exploded. Someone call 911. The few remaining neutral employees scattered, and the live stream abruptly ended. I watched the screen go black, a strange sense of detachment washing over me. I felt no pity. They deserved each other. The office brawl became an internal legend, but word eventually leaked out. Montgomery Enterprises' public image was destroyed. Their few remaining clients terminated their contracts. The last of the decent employees finally packed their bags and left. In the ensuing chaos, Ava and I moved in. We snapped up all of Montgomery's old clients and poached their best remaining talent. With my help, Chin Dynamics flourished. In a single quarter, we tripled our revenue. The value created by the team that came with me from Montgomery was enough to buy Chun Dynamics twice over. To celebrate, Ava offered me a stake in the company. What's mine is yours, Alex, she said. I was floored. A few months later, with our lives and our relationships stable and happy, I decided to propose. On her birthday, I arranged a surprise and got down on one knee. Of course, Ava wasn't the type to be easily surprised. She knew something was up, but that just made it better. Mr. Vance, she said, her eyes shining. Do you know, from the first moment I saw you, I was drawn to your confidence, your passion. I didn't know you, but I knew you were a man worth betting on. But back then, you only had eyes for Claire Montgomery. I used to think to myself, what would it be like to be the woman you cared for so deeply? Today, I know. I'm already the happiest woman in the world. Yes, I'll marry you. We had the whole thing filmed. Then, in the ultimate power move, Ava bought the skyscraper directly across from the Montgomery Enterprises building. And she played the video of my proposal on a giant screen on the side of the building, on a 24/7 loop. It was a declaration of war, a psychological attack designed to crush Claire's spirit. Ava's real goal was now clear. She wanted to acquire what was left of Montgomery Enterprises. I didn't object. Whatever she wanted, whatever she thought was right, I would support her. A while later, I heard from some of the old Montgomery employees that the company was on its last legs, once again facing bankruptcy. Blake's relatives, true to form, had sold off their shares for pennies on the dollar to anyone who would ask, flooding the market and cratering the company's value. Claire had to drain the company's last cash reserves to buy them back. She was on the verge of a complete collapse. Her last hope was a new product launch. For the first time, she had actually done market research before launch. A little too late for that. I don't know if I overestimated her, or if the company I had built was just no match for its new master. My R&D team at Chin Dynamics managed to reverse engineer her new product in about half an hour. We didn't have the core tech, of course, but a good enough knockoff at a lower price point is always a winner. Honey, guess what I got for you? The next day, Ava came to my office, a triumphant smile on her face. She handed me a manila envelope. What's this? You look happy. It's not an ultrasound. I opened the envelope as I spoke. Inside was a list of technical data. My jaw dropped. Don't tell me. Is this Montgomery's core technology? I've been at the company for years. I knew what I was looking at, but this was something Claire had never even shown me. How did Ava get it? Guess. She crinkled her nose, a cute, proud look on her face. I knew what she wanted. I stood up, pulled her close, and gave her a long, deep kiss. It was Blake, she said, satisfied. He developed a gambling problem and was deep in debt to some very dangerous people. Desperate, he'd stolen the data from Claire's safe to sell for cash. It was either that or have his legs broken. I laughed. It was absurd, but it made perfect sense. Of course a guy like Blake would end up like this. A family of vultures. I wondered what Claire's face would look like when she found out her beloved husband had betrayed her. How much did you pay him? I asked. If she'd given him too much, she'd just be enabling him. Please. I'm not that stupid, she scoffed. I gave him 1/10 of his asking price. I told him I needed you to verify it first. Now that we knew it was real, we wouldn't be paying him the rest. Once news broke that their core technology had been stolen, Montgomery Enterprises would be finished. Their precious data would be worthless. With their technology, our new product was a massive success. It was better than theirs and half the price. According to the last few employees at Montgomery, when Claire saw our product launch, she just froze. She locked herself in her office for a full day, not speaking to anyone. She was eventually dragged out by investigators. The flood of cheap Montgomery shares on the market had attracted the attention of the SEC. She was being investigated for tax evasion and market manipulation. Then other agencies got involved. Substandard products sold at premium prices, illegal kickbacks. She spent the entire day being interrogated. She was at her breaking point, and that's when Blake showed up. She thought he was there to support her. Instead, he handed her a stack of divorce papers. Just like before, he was abandoning her at her lowest point. I never should have come back, he sneered. You're just as useless as you were back then. Sign the papers. Don't waste any more of my time. Blake, are you even a man? How would you do this to me? I kicked Alex to the curb for you. I'm a pariah because of you. Now the company is bankrupt, and instead of helping, you're running away again. And I'm not done with your family. Do you have any idea how much money they stole from me? Claire looked like a ghost. She hadn't slept in days. Seeing the disgust on Blake's face, she finally snapped. How is this my fault? You're the one who didn't love Alex. You just used him as your personal doormat. You're Simp. Don't you dare blame me for your choices. As for the embezzled money, Blake conveniently forgot about it. He claimed it was payment for services rendered. Claire snatched the divorce papers from his hand. $30 million? Blake, are you insane? You think you're worth $30 million? Her eyes were practically shooting flames. Of course I am. Or was I not good enough for you in bed all this time? Are you saying my services weren't worth it? Look at yourself, Claire. You're a mess. A crazy, unhinged wreck. What man would want you? Even Alex can't stand the sight of you. Before he could finish, Claire lunged. This is all because of you. If it weren't for you, Alex would have never left me. You bastard. Give me back my money. I was such an idiot. You abandoned me once. How could I have fallen for your lies again? Alex was such a good man, and I threw him away. Honestly, hearing her say that, I felt no satisfaction, no vindication, only a deep, profound sense of disgust. How could I have ever been such a simp for this woman? The video feed continued. Claire looked at Blake, at her ruined company, at the employees walking out. Her eyes were bloodshot, her face a mask of madness. She suddenly dumped a huge pile of papers on the desk in front of him. Unpaid loans, maxed out credit cards. You want money? There is no money, only debt. You want to run? Not a chance. We're married. My debt is your debt. Now, give me back the money you stole. Seeing the mountain of debt, Blake's face twisted in fury. He lunged, his hands closing around her throat. You bitch. You shameless, lying bitch. You dare try to pin your debts on me. If it wasn't for your money, I never would have looked at you twice. You think I love you? I love your money. Now give it to me. Give me the money. Just as he was about to choke the life out of her, the remaining employees called the police again. The last I heard, they were in court, a nasty, public divorce battle. His relatives, of course, had vanished, denying they had ever taken a cent. They played the victims, claiming they had worked for free, only to be slandered. With the company in ruins, Ava and I stepped in and bought what was left of Montgomery Enterprises for pennies on the dollar. The money Claire got went to pay off her debts, but it wasn't enough. When her parents heard, they disowned her, refusing to help with a single cent. Her only hope was that Blake and his family would be forced to pay back what they'd stolen. But halfway through the divorce proceedings, when it was time for a settlement, Blake was gone. He'd had a gambling addiction for years. After he'd run away from Claire the first time, he'd burned through all her money. He only came back when he heard she was successful again. And Claire, the idiot, had taken him back. After getting rid of me, he had access to the company coffers again. He paid off his old debts and then dived in even deeper. Most of the money his family had embezzled had actually gone to fund his gambling. He'd lost it all and then some. When his creditors found out that Montgomery Enterprises was bankrupt and he had no way to pay, they stopped calling him. Instead, they generously offered to help him leave the country. His final destination, I later heard, was a special work camp in Southeast Asia. He was never heard from again. After months of trying, Ava was finally pregnant. We were on our way to the hospital for her first checkup when Claire lunged out in front of our car. My bodyguards immediately stepped in to block her. She looked like she hadn't showered in weeks. The smell was awful. "Alex, I finally found you." Sob. "I was wrong. It was all my fault. I was a fool. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I was too stupid to see it. Please forgive me. I've already forgiven you. Just give me one more chance. Let me be your wife. I divorced that monster Blake. That cheating, lying scumbag." She was on her knees in the middle of the street, howling, her eyes wild. She clearly had no idea I was already married and on my way to my wife's ultrasound appointment. I ignored her, signaling the bodyguards to get her out of the way. I didn't want her stress affecting the baby. Honestly, Ava chuckled, giving me a loving, exasperated look. "The baby is the size of a blueberry. I don't think she can affect its development." But Ava had something she wanted to say. She signaled for the bodyguards to give them some space. Her voice was calm, without a trace of malice. "Claire, in a way, I should thank you. If you hadn't let Alex go, I might never have found a man this wonderful. I will take good care of him. I will cherish him. You don't have to worry." She wasn't trying to be cruel, but every word was a dagger in Claire's heart. "Please, don't bother us again. We're not only married, but we're expecting a baby. You need to stop clinging to someone who is no longer yours." Hearing this, Claire's face darkened. Her eyes, filled with a venomous hatred, locked onto Ava's stomach. I immediately stepped in front of Ava, shielding her, worried this unhinged woman might try something. "Ms. Montgomery, what's past is past. Please let it go. Let's just part ways with some dignity." "No, never," Claire shrieked. "Go divorce her. You love me, remember?" she wailed, causing a scene. Hospital security started heading our way. "I'm divorced now. If you just divorce her, if you just give up this woman, you can marry me right away. Please don't leave me. I have nothing left. Please believe me. I know I was wrong. I'll cherish you this time." She was disturbing other patients. The security guards grabbed her and dragged her away, still screaming. I wrapped my arm around Ava's shoulder, carefully guiding her into the hospital, not once looking back at the pathetic, raving woman we left behind. I don't know what happened to Claire after that. I never saw her again. Life with Ava was calm and happy. Our new products were successful, our business was booming, and our child was born healthy and beautiful. Leaving Claire Montgomery was the best decision I ever made. I sometimes wonder what would have happened if she hadn't brought Blake back. Would I still be her simp, working myself to death for a promise that would never be fulfilled? It's laughable now. I finally get it. It's simple, really. When they love you back, anything you do is romantic. When they don't, anything you do makes you a simp. The difference is obvious. You can feel it. The only reason I was a simp for Claire for so long was because I was so blindly in love with her. Now, I just want to slap my past self for being such a fool. Ava, and I don't fight much, but she is a master of sarcasm. Every now and then, she'll bring up my simp phase. And every time she does, I feel a pang of guilt, and I immediately back down. Because I know, Ava loves me. I can feel it in everything she does. With her, I'm not a simp. I'm a partner. With Claire, I never felt that. Not once. And when I think about it like that, what reason do I have to argue with Ava? She's my wife. She loves me, and I would never want to hurt her. Honey, can I ask you something? Our child is 3 now. We're sitting under a tree, watching him run through the grass. I smile, pulling Ava closer. I look up at the clear blue sky. If our son grows up and asks you for relationship advice, what would you tell him? I think for a moment, a small smile on my face. I'll tell him one thing. I say, never be a simp. The end.